late night for the girls. We are...
What day is it? Day 5?
No, it's still day 4. Soon day 5. Going another hour and 10 minutes. A busy day at the stable. A busy night at the stable. I guess I want to start the video by congratulating James. I saw his horse won at 51 at the Meadowlands. Barefoot, nonetheless.
Barefoot?
Yeah, so the reason they do that, James's horse interferes behind. He'll hit his jacks and his shins sometimes. A lot of horses will do it. No, I said shins. He hit his jacks and shins sometimes, and it can pose a real problem. This is where I'm going, right? It can pose a real problem, and you know, you would think you'd be able to shoot. I know. You'd think that a horse, you'd be able to fix that, right? And sometimes you can mitigate it somewhat. I have never, now I've trained a lot of horses, but I have never really mastered the art of racing a horse barefoot. And the Tactor family certainly has, and many of the Europeans obviously have. Aki does it a lot. I've never sat behind a horse, and you can't do it on every track, right? The Meadowlands has got a good enough surface. You see it a lot at the Red Mile, Poconos in the past, but not so much at like a Northfield or a Scioto or something like that. You just don't see it very often. The track's a little too firm, and the surface might be a little harder on them, I guess. So it always intrigues me, because I've never personally sat behind a horse, taken the shoes off, and said, "Oh my God, what a difference!" Now, obviously, there is, because you know, some of the greatest trainers. I was there the day that Ron Burke pulled all the shoes off of What the Hill and took the hobbles off, and for the final, the Hamiltonian. At the time, I thought it was just the most ballsy thing I'd ever seen or heard of in my life. And you know,
I thought you were talking that Uncle James like took his boots off and went barefoot.
Do you really want to tell people that?
Oh my God!
You are such a tool. Yeah, Uncle James drove him barefoot. It really helped the horse a lot, because he raced him. He drove him barefoot. Don't tell people that. Oh my God. Anyway, I just thought it was the most ballsy thing I'd ever seen in my life, and you know, sadly he won the race and was set back due to interference, and there's a lot that went on there. But the fact that he did it, I was just shocked. And but I personally I've taken the shoes off a couple of times. It's never worked out well, but lots of people have. And I'm always intrigued by it. Anyway, congratulations to Mark. And then on a smaller scale, but every bit as
said it was Uncle James.
I said Uncle Mark, did I? Yeah, good call. Uncle James. Yeah. Okay, barefoot. On a smaller scale, but every bit as important to him, was Papa Nordine winning tonight. Nordine winning tonight. Prince Charmant was 5th in that race. And I was trying to look on the program to see where... I see it, Addie. Yes. Rainbow colors. I see it, yes. I was trying to see where he finished, and I look up, and he's in the photo. He won. So congratulations to Alan. Very happy for him. Obviously, we were defeated in that race, but I thought I was 3rd with Prince Charmant. He was flying at the wire. Easily the best race of his life, and is turning into a nice horse. You know, we'll talk about all of them in a second, but, you know, him and Sweeney, somebody said, you know, Sweeney's just not good enough. Anytime you show me a trotter that can trot 57 as a 3-year-old and wants to do his work, and I guarantee you we'll find a place to do well with that particular horse. Guaranteed. So we'll talk in depth about my take on Sweeney and what we did with Sweeney tonight as we go on. But I want to start my video congratulating James and Paige. I guess Nancy for well, yeah, I'm sure he had a good night too. But definitely James and Paige and Nancy and Jimmy for winning with the horse. Congratulations, a huge victory, and he looked very, very good doing it. And Alan Swain's horse, Papa Nordine, for winning. So congratulations to them. Now on to us. Back to us. A pretty good day at the office again. We had a lot of horses that had really, really good shots to win tonight. The only one that got it done was the one that, when I looked at the program, he just stood out. as a horse that was really tough to beat. Now, you couldn't dismiss that 8th place finish because, as I said, it wasn't in his blood. There wasn't a ton found there, which forced our hand, and we changed his shoes. Jason trained him the other day, said he trained great. He liked them like that. So did I. I thought he was good tonight, but there was one that was a little bit better earlier on in the card. So we'll start with 3 Point Blue Chip racing at the Meadows. I kind of have to take some of the blame. I gave Hunter like a million instructions for a 6-horse field with a horse with lots of experience. I hate doing that, but I just thought it was important at the time, not for Hunter, but for 3 Point Blue Chip. I think his first start was great. I wanted to keep him on that forward march, that forward trajectory, and I told him, one, you can't hit him with the whip. He will not take the whip at all. Sulks and sours right up. You can chase him down the lane, but if you kind of work him to get out of there or work him first over, he's just going to sit on you, and it won't end well. So you can't hit him with the whip, first off. Secondly, he's not really ready to be on the front end. Sometimes you can race him on the front, but that's only when he's soaring, right? When he's on his game, when he is very confident, then you can try him on the front, much like James did as a 2-year-old in the Matron. But I would not get in a habit of trying to put him on the front at all. And thirdly, not as important as the first two, but kind of try not to be first over. And these are a lot of instructions for a 6-horse field. Hunter wanted to get out and drop in the 2 or 3 hole. It looked like it wouldn't materialize, and I was just sitting there biting a hole in my lip, and then I watched him gather him up. Now, at that moment, if you were going to say, okay, you get 2 choices, front or back, I'm glad he chose back, because at 4 to 5, Dave Pallone would have released him, and then he would have been on the front. There would have been no remove. And that's exactly where I asked him not to be. So he knew that. He recognized that right away and understood that it was going to be one or the other. And he chose it. Although it looked a little ugly and a little odd, leaving hard, 3 wide going into the turn, gathered up to get away last, 6th. I'm glad he did it that way. So I appreciate that from Hunter. And as you saw, the horse on the front got away, and as soon as they come out of the last turn, 3 Point Blue Chip was absolutely flying under the wire. 54-1 he must have trotted. But more importantly, it looked like this is a horse that could find his way racing all the way up into the open. And if we really liked what we saw, I don't think that Mohawk or the Meadowlands would be out of the question after that. So long term for 3 Point Blue Chip, 2 very, very good starts from him. Really happy with what I saw tonight. Next, I guess I'm just going by the list, Irresistible Sun. Incredible mile. I told you guys when we got the flip-flops off him, I looked at the video, I knew he was slipping last week. We had a little bit of that work done on him, but as I said to you, he would go a big mile tonight. It's not very often that 53-1 can't get you to the winner's circle in the Buckeye. Maybe never. I don't know if there ever was. I'm sure at some point there was, but the rarest of rare defeats in this particular division. To put it in perspective, we raced in 3 other divisions. They went 56-4, 57 apiece, and 55-3. Nowhere near 53-1. So Brett's horse, I remember watching him score down. I didn't know who it was. I knew he was the favorite. We were both kind of close. But man, what a good-looking horse he was. And actually, as I say it right now, I still don't know the horse's name. But he looked very, very good on the track and raced huge. I thought I put him away. You know, somebody had said, Marvin. I saw it, Marvin. Said he was playing possum. He wasn't playing possum. The other horse was out of gear, and I really thought if I could just put some separation between us, 1, I'd have a better chance of winning, and 2, maybe Brett would put him on the run, or maybe the horse would make a break. You know, there was a number of other dirty little tricks I could have tried. I could have carried him a little bit coming out of the turn. I didn't do that. I just didn't think he'd catch up. I thought I did put him away, and his horse raced tremendous to run me down, beat fair and square, and as I said, one of the toughest defeats you're going to face, that old 53-1 trip in the Buckeye, very rare. Raced his butt off and raced huge. Next was, didn't take long. Next was, maybe many of you go to sleep listening to my voice. I don't know. Lover's Play, 3rd beat a half length. Somebody said she should have won. She's off 2 weeks. She trotted in 58. She finished 3rd. I don't know why anybody would rag on this filly. She gets a free pass every single week she's on this planet racing, just so you know. There's nothing she can do or nothing you could say that would ever turn me against Lover's Play. She is just a tough as nails, nice little filly. She kill her? No. She does bleed a little bit. We haven't checked her in a while, but Sean Lasix, what are you going to do? Tim works hard on keeping her dried up, but I can almost assure you, with the heat and the allergies, she had bled a little bit in April going into May. I could bet you very good money that there's a little bit there. So something she can hopefully, I don't want to trivialize it by saying, you know, grow out of it, but hopefully as the cooler weather starts to seep in the fall, we can, one, maybe get her in a spot where she can take a really good mark for a number of reasons. Obviously, breeding might be one of them. But two, have some successful racing. And until then, if she picks away in these classes, that's fine for now, too. If she gets up a little bit higher where she maybe is going to struggle, then we can obviously just pump the brakes, give her a month off, and bring her back. Because I do want the best form of Lover's Play from September to January, if possible. So I was happy with her today. Kid drove her great. Justin Walters, 28-1, 58-1. I think they went 58 flat. Was it a great mile? No. It wasn't a great mile, but it was a decent enough mile for me. Next was Sweeney. You know, he jammed in behind Aaron in the last turn. You know, Chris had finally let me out. He said, I wish I could have let you out earlier. I said, you could have let me out at the 5/8. I said, they went 55. He raced good, closed up down the lane. Now, a lot went into tonight. Jason and I have talked about this for a while. How, one, he obviously doesn't get around Northfield as well as he gets around a 5/8. He's a bigger colt. He is very, very nervous all the time. He doesn't get enough field time. I'm not a big, I know there's a lot of people out there that love turning them out in the morning, every morning, and bringing them in. And I've seen horses get hurt in the paddock. I'm not a big field guy all the time. They want to give them time off, fine, give them time off. But it does help some horses. It is undeniable. But we just don't spend a lot of time during our racing season turning them out in the paddocks. And I do think it does help some horses, and it absolutely would probably help Sweeney. So here he is on a half-mile track at a place he's not really in love with all the time. On a track that's a little too small for his liking from day to day. And we have a 5/8 track right here, but he doesn't love to ship. So how can we help Sweeney? I talked to Stacy after the race, and both her and Brett agreed they're going to take the horse, take him down here. I said, if you can't prove this horse, I will literally eat one of my own fingers. I guarantee you can improve this horse. I guarantee you this horse will trot in 55 in a matter of weeks. There's no need to call me and tell me, oh my God, well, I think we can help him. His back is sore, his right stifle bothers him, his right hind ankle bothers him, his feet bother him. We already know all that. We try our best to mitigate that and work with him. But it's just not enough. We're not getting through the way we need to. And I just think out in the paddock, stress-free, eating grass, light jogging miles to the farm, just a low-stress place, I believe would do this horse the world of good. And Stacy agreed to take him. So Sweeney is now going to reside with Brett and Stacy, and they're going to race him from now on. And I was very happy to hear that they would take him, because I am absolutely positive this horse can be helped in that way. Next was Prince Charmer. I thought the best race of his life by far, Prince Charmer. And I haven't checked the line, but I know for sure he comes last 8th and 14 in a piece. His 28-second quarter should have been recognized on his line, I would hope. I thought the horse raced great, finished up great. I really thought he was third going under the wire, but it just such a flat line right there at the wire. I looked and I'm like, I'm third. And I look and I'm like, I'm not even fourth. I was fifth. But it's not the end of the world. I thought the horse raced great. You know, when you stack him up against Irresistible Sun and the horse we're going to talk about in a minute, Gypsy Hill, it's not fair to him. But as I said to you about Sweeney and him at the start, you show me horses that can trot in 57 or 58 for that matter right now, that want to do their work and like their work, and I guarantee you we can find classes for these horses. Just maybe not this one. It's enticing because they have that Buckeye consolation, so it is enticing if we're bringing horses down to bring them also. But just off the cusp of being a useful Buckeye colt, but absolutely in the heart of the order for being a useful racehorse. So although Sweeney and Prince Charmer didn't show off tonight, they definitely showed up They did their work, and I was very, very happy with both of them. They'll be fine in the future. Now, the last two were the most interesting two of the night, I believe. The first one, Spitfire, I watched them go on the track, and I'd said, it doesn't look as comfortable to me on the track. So I'd said to Stacy, you know, did you make any changes? She goes, we had to take those shoes off. They were a little bit short, and they were really crushing his frog down. I said, I've heard the blacksmiths whine about the mushroom bars crushing their frogs down, but if those are on right, they'll be fine. And she goes, well, he was sore on them. It was bothering him, and we had to put his other shoes back on. Well, two things. First one, I think she's right. I think his feet were sore, and when I picked up his foot, it did look like he grows toe quick, and it did look to me that you could see the indentation in his frog where that shoe that he had on, at least for that last couple of days, that it was too short, just by maybe about that much. And what I meant by that is it sat back here where it should come right to here on the horse's hoof. Right, there's the hoof. It should sit. It was sitting there almost, and it should be back here. Maybe not that far in the middle, but it was too short, from what I could see anyway, on the horse's foot. And then, so you have that, which he was probably a little compression sore on his frog. Then you put those normal shoes back on him. Now the old problems are coming back too, I suspect, whether it be corns or just kind of seedy, sore corners of the bulbs. He had a lot going on in his feet tonight, you could tell, right? Going into the first turn, he looked a little rough. When at nowhere in the mile does his body language say attack. It just seemed like, I want this to be over with. That's how it seemed to me when I was watching the race. And there is nothing wrong with that. Like I said to Stacy, it is not your fault. And Brett and I had a great conversation about it after. You know, he's the same as me. I can tack a shoe on, he can tack a shoe on. We can't shoe a horse. Totally different. It is a real cool trade to have, one that I am not qualified to do. I'm the least handy person on earth, but I love the thought of shoeing. I can't facilitate it. I don't have the ability to do it. Maybe if I worked at it, I suppose. But with him, I believe his front feet were killing him tonight, and they did everything they could for him. It didn't. It was bad timing. Bad timing. So I told them, I said, you know, we need to do is I would put the mushroom bars back on them, but they got to fit them properly. And it's not necessarily the blacksmith's fault. If I remember correctly, Spitfire grows a lot of toe really fast, and those shoes just crept forward, and now they're too short. But you can't start them long. So what you have to do with a horse like him, if you're going to wear those shoes on him, you almost have to shoe him every 2 weeks, every 14 to 18 days. I think you have to just trim him up. Just rasp them up a little bit, trim them up, make sure those shoes fit so that he stays sound in them. I thought his first mile with those mushroom bars on was the best I've seen him mechanically speaking, and tonight was one of the worst ones I've seen him in quite a while. I had my concerns. I said, oh, it's hot now, is he bleeding? You know, what's going on with the horse? But after Stacy and I talked, I literally was standing there in front of Spitfire, and she picked up the foot and she was showing me. I said, oh my God, that's a real problem. So I think we file Spitfire tonight did the best that they could, and I suspect and would wager. Well, I guess the silver lining is he's not gonna be relegated to the 9-hole for a while. Even if he goes out and wins next week, surely they can't just dump him back on the outside. So two things. There's that, and the fact that he raced good tonight and had the mental fortitude to not make a break, stay at it. So actually a great job by Brett and Stacy to get him raced. Great job by the horse to race, and I can almost guarantee you a much different horse will show up next week in Scioto. And then we get to Gypsy Hill. We had changed the shoes behind. We took the egg bars off, or the bars off, and went to an aluminum shoe behind. Jason said he trained great the other day. I thought he raced great. He definitely interfered less. I think we can now get the bell boots off him up front, both sets. He comes down next week for one of those pop-up races. I had said this is the time to let his hobbles out, take those bell boots off him, and see how he behaves. I think he's there. I can feel the hobbles hitting him. We talked about that. We talked about that this morning in a video referencing Century Legion and what James was talking about. Totally different situation, but the end result as far as the hobbles are the same. You can feel them hitting them. And I just think that Gypsy is trotting so much better now. We could probably let those hobbles out a hole or two and take both sets of bell boots off him up front, and I think we'd be able to squeeze another second or so out of him. I'm almost certain of it. But he was good tonight. I was in and out. Like I was lucky to be afforded the opportunity to change my mind a couple of times in the middle part of the third quarter. I went back down to the inside, which would have ended up with me winning anyway. But I just decided that I wanted to stay out of harm's way. I can back out, kind of crept my way 3 wide, and as soon as we got to the head of lane, Gypsy took off. But if I'd have moved him down the backstretch, I think he would have hung out. I think he would have hung on us. And I don't really know why he felt that way. Can't really answer that, but he got the job done. Winners win, right? He got the job done. So all in all, for the day itself, the greedy part of me thinks that we squandered. I screwed Hunter over with 3-point blue chip. Had I just shut my mouth and said, hey, he doesn't race as good on the front, I think we would have been fine and he would have won. But he raced fantastic, flying for second. Irresistible Sun, it's a tough one. It's a tough one to lose in 53 and 1 in a Buckeye. He raced amazingly. And that's not his best race. As I said to Randy after the race, we were talking about the horse. I said, that's not his best race. You are going to see a better mile yet from Irresistible Sun. I can guarantee it. He didn't have the best week of the 4 horses that Jason told me he trained this week. He said he actually trained the softest. Irresistible Sun. I think his best is yet to come. And I again, letting his hobbles out a couple of holes. I said to Lauren, we got a set of rib bell boots on him. They're mildly heavier than the normal ones. So, baby steps. We'll put a lighter set of bell boots on them, trim them up a little better so they sit a little more snug, and then hopefully thereafter we can get them off him. Now, somebody had said to me, if you're certain that Irresistible Sun would race better without flip-flops, why didn't we take them off 3 starts ago? And that is a great question. A great question. Everybody thinks that in the sense of your car, right? Why didn't you put the different part in them? Why didn't you do this? These are horses, right? You have to build confidence, you have to build strength, and you have to do it in a proactive and positive way. And every time they race bad, it's like a step backwards. But every time they race good, it's a step forward. If we had taken the flip-flops off of Irresistible Sun before this week, maybe it could have last week, but before the last 2 weeks, I think he would have got pacey and made a break. He was not ready to do what he did tonight until tonight. And you have to understand, a lot of the things we do, it's a process, right? It's step by step by step. It's much like conditioning any other athlete. Any step backwards can be pretty detrimental. So sometimes it's baby steps, but you can't run before you walk, right? And whether it's Gypsy with the shoeing changes we made on him and how good he looks now, or Irresistible Sun, quite the same, and even faster, how good he looks, it's a process. So it's a fair question. Why didn't we just do it a month ago? Because he wasn't ready for it a month ago. He's ready for it now. So with that, I'm going to let you go. Tomorrow, you know, we had a good day today. Second, third, 7th, 5th, just beat for 3rd, 4th, and a win. So not a horrible day, top to bottom. Tomorrow's going to be a little trickier, right? Although Patrick's down in class, he's morning line 6-1. Memory and Imagination's got a tough one in with him and Spazano, whatever his name is. Blanton's Blues 20-1. Looks like Money's 15-1. But there's nothing we can do, right? You're talking about a new horse and a new track in Yonkers with Blanton's Blue, and really don't care. We don't know how they're going to fit. Looks like Money's racing in the free-for-all because that's where he has to go. And then you have Memory and Imagination and Tactical Mounts. They're in stake races. There's nothing we can do about that. JK Victory is picked for 1st or 2nd. Renegade Gypsy, similar, I believe. And then we have Series Dragon up a class and with the outside post. So we're just going to have to take our medicine tomorrow. Fingers crossed, especially for Pickpocket and Tactical Mounts tomorrow night. Good luck to everybody, and good luck to James in the North American Cup. And again, congratulations on his colt tonight with his bare feet. Go ahead. Anyway, I hope you guys had a wonderful night. It was a long day for us. You see the little one. Didn't take long for her to be out. A long day for us. It's going to be a long day again tomorrow. We got to get up, go to the barn, drive to Ontario, and then settle in for a couple of days, and then head back. This week's going to be very busy to me, or for me. I have to ship 5 horses to the Meadows. I have to drive at the Meadows, and then as soon as the babies are done qualifying, I have to drive back to Ontario, drive, brace for landing, get back in the car, drive back to, and now I don't have to rush because Wednesday afternoon I only have ready for landing.
I have to go with you because I have dance.
We'll figure out who dance. No, I think they moved it to Thursday, remember?
No, Thursday. So
Yeah, that's fine. It's not a problem. Wednesday afternoon, we only have ready for landing. That should be fun. First start on Lasix for him. Wednesday night, we have 6 in, a slew of them in at Northfield Park. And then things get really tricky after that. We're wondering where we're going to race the babies. Are we coming back to Scioto on Thursday or Friday? And I have to be in Kentucky all 7 races a week from Monday. Memory and Imagination and Pickpocket will join the rest of Eric's crew. All 7 of them will race a week from Monday. So now you're completely caught up. I hope you did have a wonderful day. I hope you're having a great week. I hope we all have a wonderful weekend. I hope to see you all at Mohawk tomorrow. We have the patio out front. All of our clients are welcome. All your friends, family, neighbors, acquaintances. Bring whoever you want. It should be a wonderful night at Mohawk. Take care, everybody.